us what to expect out of his, they're readable, inspections. So, Michael? I've halfway introduced you, but it was kind of half-ass introduction, so.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Where's a good spot for me?
This is right here.
Right here.
The old, you need the, things, did Ashley put them on for you?
Yes, she did. Yeah, she did.
So, Lisa can help you out with that.
Well, I haven't done one of these in a long time, so please forgive me if I'm a little rusty.
Not with your inspections, that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, I've been, my name's Michael Dugan. I've been a home inspector here in Tracy since 1995. I started January 1st, 1995, so I'm in 19 years of inspection right now. I started out originally as Sherlock Holmes. That went away after a couple of years. I became Focus Inspections. And since 2011, I've been working with Buyers Protection Group, which is a national chain. I'm an employee now. I went to BPG because I figured I could give better service to my clients. With the background and the backup that I have from BPG, I think I can give my clients better service. What are we looking for?
BPG.
BPG somewhere.
No, on the desktop, Lisa, it's already open, I think.
There it is.
So,
So,
there you go.
you can hit the buttons for me?
Sure.
Okay. I had all these neat flying stuff anyway. Like I said, with Buyers Protection Group. Go ahead.
Keep going? Yeah.
Jean, I was out at one of Jean's listings last couple of weeks ago, and she asked me to come by the office. The economy's changed all the time, right? The market hopefully looks like it's coming back. You're going to see more home inspectors coming out of the woodwork. I thought I'd give you an overview of what my opinion of the home inspection is, why I'm a member of Korea and ASHI, and why I do what I do. So, real estate definition and scope is it's a survey of the general condition of the property at the time of the inspection. Its purpose is to inform the client about the condition of the property. Cosmetics and aesthetics conditions are not considered, so if it has a lousy paint job or nasty carpets, I don't care. What I'm looking for is, and it's not technically exhaustive. We can't be there all day. An inspection should take between 2 and 3 hours depending on the size of the house. You can go next page.
I kind of think it's important to know that he doesn't care if the carpet's dirty and he doesn't care if the house needs painted.
You should see my
It's not
house.
his inspection. You should see my house. Anyway, I think that's important because we always think the inspector's coming on, let him know that we're going to replace the carpet. He
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
care.
Yeah. And if you guys have any questions while we're doing this, just shoot them out. What we do is we provide a written report of material defects. And material defects are basically safety hazards, things that aren't functioning properly, or things that are approaching the end of their service life. We're trying to give the client an idea of what they're getting into. Here's the property. Let's take a look at it. Let's take a good close look. Let's see if everything's running. See if it's safe for you and your family.
Do you like the client there when you have your inspections?
I'm going to get to that.
All right, I'm excited.
So she would specifically ask me about that.
Yeah,
So
okay.
let's go. In California, there is no license requirement for home inspectors. So if anyone comes in and tells you they're a licensed home inspector, they're not. They may have a contractor's license, they may have a driver's license, but they don't have a home inspector's license. Certification, well, you can get a certification anywhere. You guys can go online and for a small fee, you can become certified home inspectors. All you have to do is pay your money. So what's the difference between me and other certifications? Insured, here's where the rubber hits the road. Don't ever recommend anybody who isn't insured. It's in your car contracts. I shouldn't even be on the property if I don't have the proper insurance. Ask for proof of insurance. Education is really important. I went to what used to be called ITA, Inspection Training Associates, that was in Southern California, to become a home inspector. I had been in construction for 20 years, but that didn't qualify me to do home inspections. It's a whole different ball of wax. Experience. In this case, I call experience what you did before you became an inspector. I've had people call me on the phone and say, boy, that inspection looks like a good gig. How do I get into that? I've been laying carpets for the last 2 years. I don't think you're qualified to become a home inspector after 2 years of installing carpets. And then ask for references. You can always ask for references. I can go back to other realtors that have used me. I can go back to clients that have used me. Hey. Okay, how do you select the inspector? You don't. Let your client select them. I want to keep you at arm's length. We both work for the client. You know, that's who we're providing a service for. I don't want there to be a conflict of interest. I don't want somebody saying, this is my inspector, use him. I cringe at those words. I'm not your inspector, I'm the client's inspector.
But stop right there, I'm a seller,
Yeah.
and I know that Mark has ordered an inspection.
Mhm.
He's 16 years old, he doesn't have a license, but he's ordered that inspector. That's why we write into our contract, all inspections to follow by qualified inspectors. You do have, as a broker, you have the right to reject that inspector. If you know he's not gonna do a good job, you know he's not experienced, you know he's not insurance, you can just share with the other agents.
something
It's
like
written in there by qualified. They don't have to be licensed, but they have to be qualified. So if you have a house listed and somebody's going to send you an inspector, ask who it is and look it up and see if he's qualified. Then if he's not qualified, you have the right to say, I do not want that person doing that inspection, he's not qualified.
As a seller.
You
As
can-
a seller,
You
yes.
can Google anybody's name and you're gonna get their history
And isn't that the
like
truth?
that. So, you know.
That's what we must
their,
do.
their education and experience in this one is, what did you do before you, or, you know, experience, how long have you been a home inspector? New guys, we have new guys come on board all the time, new inspectors come on board all the time. I think the first 200 inspections, I would cringe to read those reports I did on my first 200 inspections. That would scare the heck out of me, just like this does right now. So, you know, until you got a few under your belt, you just don't really know what's going on out there. They come along, we do training, we do ride-alongs with them, we examine new inspectors in the field, give them pointers, you know, try and bring them up to speed, but there's an awful lot you have to know off the top of your head as an inspector. We have a standard, okay, so professional membership, ASHI, Korea. This is a national organization, this is California-based. So these are the two oldest associations in the country, and as far as I'm concerned, if you're not an ASHI or Korea member, you really shouldn't be out there. There's a lot of other organizations, you can become a member of them, all you have to do is pay your fee. ASHI in Korea require that you pass a test, and it's a psychometrically valid and legally defensible exam. It's given in a exam center with a proctor looking over your shoulder, so nobody's cheating on it. You can't have your dog take the test for you on your computer. Standards of practice defines what an inspection is. Code of ethics, same thing that realtors have. You have a code of ethics, we have a code of ethics. No conflict of interest, we're trying to avoid that. Insurance, insurance, insurance. Be insured. So to keep it simple, hire a Korea inspector. There are a lot of them here. Our Delta chapter has, I think we have 16 members. I see probably 10 of them every month at our meetings. So we have a monthly education meeting every month, because we have to have 30 hours of education per year to be an inspector. Tested to Korea standards of practice. I was on the exam committee. I helped write the test, so I know it pretty well. Okay. I had to take the test before they would let me on the exam committee. Okay, here's the red flags. Inspectors can't perform any repairs on properties they inspect. Obviously, we have a conflict with structural pest inspectors. You know, they inspect, they say what needs to be fixed, and they go fix it. And they come back and clear their report.
Yeah.
We can't do that.
Okay.
Hands off. We can't have a financial interest in any property we inspect. I didn't inspect the house I just bought 10 years ago. I had another inspector come in and do it, and I've done inspections for several other inspectors. Because I can't generate a report on my own house and hand it to you, or on my brother-in-law's house and hand it to you and say, here's an unbiased report. I can't, contingent upon the conclusions of the inspection. Here's the big one. I don't care if it closes escrow, it's not my job. My job is to give a fair and honest report of the conditions of the property. If it scares someone off, I'm not there to scare anybody. I'm just there to tell them what my findings are. And you must produce a written report. No verbal reports. The state of California says it has to be written to be an inspection report.
I've got a question.
Sure.
Really super neat thing, that I like one of, my home inspectors to have around is like maybe carry around some smoke detectors or carbon monoxide detectors, and during an inspection, if it's not there for some reason, then I'll pay them for it, just to put it in. So, but that's just been done in the past.
Well, it would be a nice service, but
Or light bulbs, extra light bulbs, I'd pay, just, and I should do that, keep
yeah.
extra light bulbs, extra carbon monoxide detectors, smoke detectors in the trunk just for that reason. And also, that by the time you get there, you don't have to call a light not working because it doesn't have a bulb in it or something.
Well, yeah, but in my report it says, it may have been non-functional because the bulb was burned out or there were no bulbs. And it just says, suggestion that, you check the operation of that, of that fixture.
I think that's something the agent should be doing and not asking you to carry it.
With a carbon monoxide detector or a smoke detector, I see him sitting on the counter in the kitchen and I go, can you put that on the wall,
Yeah,
because
I
then I
know.
can say it's
But you're not
installed.
thinking of the back of that appraiser is our
Yeah.
carbon, and I had an appraiser tell me he hates to go back and put on a carbon and charge $125. Everybody thinks it's easy money. He said, it's not, I hate it, because I could be doing another inspection.
Yeah,
It's up to us not to carry one in the back of your car. It's a good way to get a listing, by the way, and have it there, but don't rely on anybody but your seller and yourself.
yeah, if it's not installed, I can't say in my report that it was installed.
And I think
I think I can see it there, but it's not installed.
he said something that makes a lot of sense to me. As a buyer, we recommend our property inspection. These are the ones that we have used. These are the ones that has all of these.
Yeah.
We recommend it. However, if you want to use another, please feel free. But the thing we must do, and you're probably going to cover it later on, I had a horrible, horrible experience. You've got to tell the buyer they need a check. Because it's true. He does the best he can. If it closes, it closes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Somebody's dropped the ball. He needs to be paid.
I just had a horrible experience too.
They wouldn't release the report because the agent hadn't told the buyer he's supposed to pay for it.
Oh, I had one that was, they did escrow billing through our office, they'll do it, they charge an extra fee for it. And it did get paid for, but somehow it didn't get from the accounting department to the payroll department. And I was, this inspection had been sitting out there since December and I hadn't been paid for it. Because they said, oh, well, it went to escrow billing, so that's a different department. And I was going,
If it falls apart,
Thank you, guys.
if it falls apart, you're never gonna get paid. I got news for you.
Short sale,
Yeah.
year
Yeah.
later.
So you've done your job, you deserve to be paid.
so yeah, I think we can move on. She's a Korea member, makes it easy.
Next.
Yep, sure. Insurance, pretty much same things that you have to have. E&O insurance, general liability, bodily injury, see proof of insurance.
How many of
We
us
got
do
to-
that?
Nobody.
Nobody.
That's a good idea though.
It's in the contract. It's in paragraph 10 of your contract that we should be on the property if we're not insured. So the three most important words is location, location. I should slide there. No, it's disclosure. Disclose, disclose,
It
disclose.
is.
Yes. Okay, here's the absolute must-haves for inspections. Have the clients there. What is this all about? I'm not doing it in a vacuum. Reading a report doesn't get across the same thing that being there during the inspection does. Have access to the garage. Everybody says declutter your house so it shows well. That means clutter up your garage so I can't walk through it. Have access to the attic.
Explain why the garage is so
Well,
important, which I didn't do.
The water heaters in the garage, the furnaces in the garage, washing machines in the garage. I'd like to see the floor to see if it's cracked. Boy, am I in trouble if somebody drives up the first day to take over possession of that house and there's a big giant crack in the garage floor and they say, why didn't you see that?
I had one of my clients, we called him Mr. Clean. He washed down his garage every day of his life. He lived there like 100 years. Well, guess what? When he washed down the garage, the water went above that concrete thing and mold and
There's
everything
mold
else
growing
was
all over the
along there,
garage, yeah.
which the inspector couldn't inspect.
I want to see the walls, yeah.
So when you ask your agent, can you have the cellar so the inspector can go around the house? I forgot it, I've forgotten that, but it's so
Yeah.
important. It's so important.
Same thing with the attic. I just love to go into the master bedroom closet and see it full of business suits and evening gowns, and that hatch is up there, and when I open that hatch, what's gonna come out? On a good day, it's gonna be a little bit of insulation. On a bad day, it's gonna be rodent poop falling on people's clothes. Tell me to clean out the closet, give me access. Pearl say it faces the same thing. It's in the hall closet. You open the hall closet, there's what? There's your vacuum cleaner, there's all of your books, there's, hockey
We
sticks.
forget to tell the seller to do that, that's why this is so important. We
And
just
I'm gonna have to
forget.
take it all out, and then I'm gonna have to put it all back in just the way it was, because if it's not just the way it was, you're gonna get a phone call saying, what was he doing to my stuff?
Yeah, how come, is he bonded? He was in
Yeah.
my closet.
Yeah,
Yeah, right on.
and bring a check or a credit card. And like I said, we can do credit card billing, we can do it over the phone. That way, when I upload my report, you'll get an email with a link, and you'll go directly to your report. It's paid for, it's done. If you really wanna go through escrow billing, they're still gonna want a credit card number. So, okay. Let's see. From that point on, I take it. I run the show. I tell the client with the inspection, how the inspection will proceed. We start on the outside generally, this and this and that. I ask if they have any major concerns, and I do mean major concerns. I invite them to follow along and ask questions. I tell them if they see something that they're concerned about, bring it to my attention. I want to see it too. I want to address that. This is time to kick the tires and look under the hood. This is an elephant hunt. We're looking for big items. We're not looking for the little stuff. If I see a crack in the pavement, I'm going to mention a crack in the pavement. If I see a crack in a heat exchanger, that's a whole different story.
Can we stop one moment about,
Yes.
If you pay by credit card, and we're coming to the choice now where buyers are going to be paying the closing costs. Your buyer can pay for the inspection, and when you put your demand into the title company, buyer to be reimbursed, blah, 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 for report that's been paid for. Because the sellers agreed to pay $10,000 of the closing costs, make sure you include that and get it back to the buyer. You understand what I'm saying? Send the bill to the title company and say, buyers to be reimbursed for this paid thing. So then they'll put it on the seller's side, but your client will get that credit there in the title company, because it is part of the closing cost. So we're gonna enter the age now where buyers, believe it or not, sellers are gonna start paying some of the closing costs. So if they're paying the closing costs, why do I pay this up front? You will be reimbursed through the title company. Very, very, very important. Okay.
So if I'm looking
Sorry.
I'm on an elephant hunt, what am I looking for? Elephant tracks. That movement in that curve, something's moving. Go again. There's a disconnected downspout after a few years. That's an elephant. Go to the next one. It's too bad the screen has that thing in it, that walkway is
What?
slanted about like that. It wasn't
Oh,
installed
yeah,
that way. Something's moving, I know where, there's a mouse. That's not a drinking fountain, that's your ear gap on your dishwasher. There's a nice topiary. I think we have a roof problem here. This roof has never leaked. I don't know why those buckets are up there. It hasn't leaked.
I had that happen, believe me.
This is a unpermitted alteration.
Wow.
Oh, you don't really need that hip rafter there, do you? This one, the first question out of my mouth is going to be, do you have small children? Are there going to be small children on the property? Because those things can tip over all the time. Oh, there's where those two koi are that we were worried about. Now we're responding to your inspection. That's a death trap for little kids. Go to the next one. I don't care if the utility company did it, it's still wrong. You can't get into your electrical panel, you have a problem. That one you've seen in your own house. That's the anti-tipping device warning on your stove door on your oven door. And I'd say 75% of ovens don't have that anti-tipping device installed, and it costs $5 and it takes 10 minutes to do it. That one, well, I don't think this heater for the pool is doing anything anymore, but a few years ago, the exhaust was going right into that window. So
Get
the,
gassed.
yeah,
Wow.
how many homeowners open their electrical panel and look inside? Well, this is one of the main wires is fused here, it's melted. So now you have exposed wiring and fire hazard in the shop. Now that looks pretty good, right? Go to the next slide. Until you get up close. I don't think that's gonna hold up in a fire to have a plastic duct up there. It's gonna burn your cabinets, it's gonna burn down and go directly into your attic. When I drove up today, I saw this on your back steps over here. That was perfectly acceptable when it was built. But if there's any gap larger than 4 inches, they should close it down. It's a hazard children. This one, you go, well, what's that? Is that safety glass? Anything within 2 feet of a doorway has to be safety glass. What are we getting flashing messages? Oh, how is that fan working for you in the bathroom? I don't think it's blowing any moisture out
Go
of the
back to that
bathroom.
glass again.
Yeah.
Anything that's, give me that, run that by me.
Anything within 2 feet on the side of a doorway has to be
Okay.
safety glass.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be safety glass. You can cover it with a film, a safety film. You can put in a grill or something like that. But if your drunken friends come over and stumble into your window, you don't have a drunken friends, but I do. It has to be safety glass. As a carpenter, I'm still a carpenter, I just cringe seeing this. Where's the nails? That's a rafter. And it's not even nailed.
That's Kaufman Roadhouse.
That's, not quite like my house. Here's the famous flips. A flip is a red flag to me immediately. That looks pretty good, right? It's staged, you got the 2 coffee cups out. The floors look nice, the cabinets are, look like they're in level and nice. Go ahead. Yeah, what's the problem there? Go ahead. Aesthetics they mentioned. That archway is,
It's not straight.
Oh,
first
I
of
go,
all.
that's real strange looking, but go ahead. That's Uncle Buck's construction. Here's my next example. Okay,
Wow.
it's not attached to the counter.
I've seen that.
The next one.
With the,
The electrical's not correct. The missing cover plate.
Countertops all going uphill, or is it just my bad eyesight?
I
What?
think there's a
Here,
wave
it
in
looks
the
like
curtain.
countertops were all going
It's-
uphill.
Yeah, there's a wave in the curtain.
So, that's another, it's not a big deal, but it's pointing towards incorrect installation. Somebody didn't know what they were doing. It's getting to be a bigger deal. The next one, okay. They didn't take the knockout out of the disposal, so the water's coming out the ear gap. You can't use corrugated pipe on a vent like that, on an exhaust vent.
How about the tape on there?
Yeah, you have to be in a junction box.
That's a good one.
Everything's gotta be made up in a junction box, that's a fire hazard. That one, they didn't even bother to try and hide it. No trap, and those little accordion thingies are not approved fittings. So now it's a big deal. Now we have an accumulation of things that say, this contractor didn't know what they were doing or didn't care what they were doing, as long as it looked good. They were done with them, they were gone. Get a home inspection.
You know the old saying, well, as is okay as long as you know what as is. So get your inspections on these flips and think people recommend it, and if they don't get it, sign that frickin' waiver we have.
So that's pretty much all I have, except for any questions you might have. I got a couple of handouts you might wanna, take a look at. This is my cheat sheet from, and I have some brochures, and I have business cards. Do you have any questions? Anything? I'm easy.
I have a question. When you said have the clients there, some inspectors don't want the clients the whole time they're there. Are you the same, like they want them the last half an hour so that they can give a resume of what's going on?
No, I want them there the whole time.
All right.
I'm gonna
I
answer
know.
that, as a broker. Your buyer is paying for this inspection. If he's there, that little tiny thing between the little, you're read it in the report and it's, my God, this house is gonna fall
Yeah.
down.
Yeah,
If an inspector tells you not to have your buyer there, I have to know why. Don't you want them there from the get-go? Or if they start 2 hours before the client gets there, I wanna know why are they starting 2 hours? I want my client there. And if an inspector tells them not to be there, then I'll never use that inspector again. Because your buyer has a right to be there for that inspection and to ask me. I know the switch goes on and goes off. I have no idea if it's wired right. I don't even care. That's his job.
but if, you know, and if you have a choice between having the husband and the wife there, if it's a couple, have the wife there, because she's making the purchase decision.
Leave the kids home.
Yeah.
Buyer, leave the kids home. Go and be there. Meet the person there. You're there. You introduce them. They're bonded. To me, that third party causes all kinds of real estate agent brand new. Gee, how about that there? And how about that there? You know, let the client ask the questions. He's will be able to answer it. It's so important that your people be there at the time the inspection starts. It's so important that your client makes that appointment with the inspector and informs you so you can be there. So we all know what as is. We've all witnesses use flips that are being sold again. And guess what? The buyer didn't get one, and now he's selling it. All these things are coming up. Not our problem. They should have had an inspection. It's the best 400 or whatever you charge that you could possibly spend. And you know what? If there is a problem before you close escrow, it's a hell of a lot less expensive than having that problem after it closes. Therein comes your lawsuits. Therein comes.
That's why I put the thing out about pre-listing inspections. We do a lot of pre-listing inspections in the Bay Area. It solves some of the problems because everything's out in front. You don't have to renegotiate after. I come in at the last minute and go, oh, well, we found a problem, now we gotta renegotiate. Do it up front. Have the seller pay for the inspection.
What if you inspect something and call something, and the guy is a true electrician? He truly is.
Yeah.
Or he truly has a friend, and he fixes that. Do you charge to come back to see if it's fixed the right way?
That's why I always call for a licensed tradesperson. Because they do the repairs, they
And
furnish,
you're okay with it.
they furnish the invoice. It's on them, it's not on me. What am I supposed to do? Come back and take it apart and make sure that it was done correctly? No, I don't wanna come back at all. It's not my job, it's the trade person who does the repair. They should, you know, it should be their responsibility. If they're licensed, it's their license. So you have recourse.
The scariest listing I ever took in my life is I walked in and there on the table was Home Depot, handyman, how to fix. I go, oh, crumbs. And boy, in Fremont, they did everything themselves and did everything wrong. So, clients scare me to death when I'll fix it, I'll fix it. If they're gonna fix it, let them fix it before they get there, so at least he knows they're fixed right. And when we call it. I know you guys have a lot of questions, so please don't let me be the only one.
I'll leave some brochures here also for you to see what DPG offers that, you know, I think they have a real good program in backing up what we do in the field.
What's your radius of service? Like we have neighbors or-
California in general, yeah. I go to the Bay Area all the time. I go into the foothills. I used to go into the foothills a lot more often. I go to Modesto and Stockton. Last week I was up in Lodi. So, you know, unfortunately, our scheduling center is in Atlanta. So they say, oh, well, he can be in Fremont at 8 o'clock in the morning.
According to the map, it only looks
Yeah,
like
something like that far apart. Well, you know, they don't know Bay Area traffic's like it.
Everybody has one.
Bay Area in the morning. So, but I go, you know, 100-mile radius. If I get much further out than that, I'm gonna go, I want some driving time.
Yeah.
You know, pay me for drive time.
If you do an inspection, Michael, let's say on a Monday, how long should I wait to really see that inspection?
You should see it the next day. My report should be out the next day, unless there's some, unless I'm really busy, and then I'll tell you I'm really busy. But if I get booked up together in bunches, then I take a day off and do nothing but write reports. I want you to have it back as soon as you can get it back, and that's usually the next day for me.
Anyone have any Dave, you got any?
What do you do when you have 14 people show up for a home inspection and the buyer's wandering around listening to dad and father-in-law, and so how do you handle something like that?
You know, what I try and do is take my client aside, you know, find out who the main client is and take him aside and go, you know what this is gonna do to me? It's gonna confuse me, it's gonna
Confuse
distract
them.
me, you know, it's gonna take my attention away from the inspection, and I'm gonna miss something. So,
Absolutely.
you know, so leave me alone.
I'll
Don't
usually-
leave me alone, you come with me, I'll show you what's going on.
What you do is you introduce, before I do an inspection, like I have the seller, I'll tell the buyers, listen, I'm the buyer, I'll tell the seller agent, my client will want to ask the inspection questions. Can you please have your seller's time?
Yeah.
And I will tell my buyer, I'm putting you in debt for 30 years. You need to bring your yellow pad, get a babysitter, meet him there, and ask him, not the neighbors, not me, not your cousin, ask him every question you have in that house. I'm setting the stage. Because the more people there, and especially the Asian stays, they just get in the way, because you've taken this person for 6 months, and they're gonna look for you, so you can ask the inspection questions. You have no business asking the inspector anything, you're not gonna be living there. So I kinda set the stage, I've had that show up, Dave.
Yeah.
I've had it all show up, and then people decide not to buy the house, because the house was too small, and the buyer turned to the seller, true story, 10 people were there. The buyer turned to the seller and said, why are you moving? But she said, we have 2 children, buyer has 2, and we found out that one bathroom was just not good, not enough, too much confusion. She looks at her husband, she looks at the one bath, and she says, I looked at honey, I think we need to get a house with 2 bathrooms.
Yep.
They could have built it back on, they were in a wonderful neighborhood, there was no over-improving. It's the fact that they got it built on the 2nd bath and not over-improved. The fact that everybody came. The kids were outside jumping and pulling the dog's leg, and it's just not there. So it's up to you to set the stage saying, this is one of the most important thing. You're not there for the termite, you're not there for the roof, you're not, but I want you there for property inspection. Take your yellow pen, get a babysitter. Tonight when you say, I'm putting you in debt for 30 years, you need to ask that man questions that he can answer, and only he can answer. And if he doesn't know the answer, he knows where to go get the answer for you. I've set the stage.
I have several thousand colleagues all over the state and all over the country, and all I have to do is get on the internet and go, hey guys, what do you think of this? You know, have you seen this before? If I haven't seen it, I just ask my colleagues, and they tell me.
This is one of the things that I've always, just amazes me, and I'm gonna bring it up again. You finally have the seller to pay the closing costs, right? So this guy comes into the office for $250, a discount this month if you use him, and he's from New Jersey somewhere, and so you say, okay, that's a good price. You're not even paying for it, somebody else is paying for it. And even if you were paying for it, wouldn't you, if you were buying that house, wouldn't you want the best? So be careful of the guy that discounts. 99.9% chances as he does his own repairs. He's also,
And they're not gonna be around next year when you need them.
he's not gonna be around, exactly right. So that's why when I met Michael again, I asked him, I said, you know what, we need you. We're just at somebody else's whims and things, and they're the extension of us. We recommend Michael can stand there and talk to those people, and if they're there, it's happened again and again and again and again. A little thing, if they're there, stays a little thing when you go over an inspection with them. If they're not there, that little tiny thing becomes a major, because it wasn't explained properly to them. So I really appreciate you taking time off from your busy schedule, and anybody have any questions, now is the hour.
Well, and you have my email.
Yeah.
The houses have a wheel and septic tank, that's a very cool inspection.
Well
Say
and
again?
septic,
Well and
well and
septic,
septic.
do you do well and septic?
No, I don't. I would recommend that you go to, I don't know.
Yeah,
Tony
most of the
Silva, I
time,
think, so,
special
I
Freitas.
don't, Freitas was the only one I knew about here.
Yeah.
And I don't think Freitas is in business anymore. But there's gotta be somebody out there that's servicing septic tanks. You know, if I even think it's on a septic system, then I'm gonna say you need to have the tank inspected by someone who knows what they're doing. And if they're on a domestic well, the same thing. You know, I don't know what the water quality is, the supply, anything else. I say, have this inspected by, and I really try to avoid further inspection by so-and-so, because what are you paying me for? You're paying me for my opinion.
Well, is
What
that-
I do say is, this needs repair, and what you need to do is go to a licensed plumber or a licensed electrician.
Exactly.
And they'll tell you how much it's gonna cost, because I don't know, I'm not gonna fix it. So,
It might not be a bad idea to have somebody, if we can find somebody that does septics and wells, to see
Yeah.
what the red flags are for us and who we can learn. Because we try to get speakers in here every week, and we have our continual education. That's something that, they're still out there every once in a while.
Yeah.
The septics and the well, and boy, is that, most lenders will want that to be inspected, so.
for sure.
Any more questions at all? Rebecca, I'm surprised you don't have one.
I'm surprised too.
Well, thank you guys for
Thank
inviting
you,
me in.
Michael, so very, very, very much.
Pleasure. I'll let you get back to work.
All right, thank you,
I'll go.
Mike.
Thank you very much. It wasn't, I learned something today.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Boy, you know what, you get back out there once in a great while, you guys have heard about it for the last 3 or 4 months, but you get back out there and find out the old timers are still there, and they're still busy, and people still want quality service. So that's really, really important. Well, my son came out this week, didn't pass his test, got really bummed until he found out practically everybody in the office had to go the second time. But that's a hell of a long ways to come to do it the second time. So I said, Ernie, I'm gonna be talking to you. I said, can you tell me a little bit about your resume? He said, I'll be more than happy to. He says, I oversee 600 employees. My job is to motivate them, educate them, teach them how to write contracts the proper way, how to negotiate, and I'm in charge of 600 agents, and I travel over the United States of America, sometimes out of the country. Been doing this for 27 years, and my strongest point is I make all the websites and design all the wheels for American Wheel. You may be overqualified. So Ernie will be here next month. And they kind of decided to rent their house because they got talking about taxes and there's capital gain, because he did go back and rent a year before he bought. So they may be out here sooner than we think. But the moral of the story is, I get tired, very, very tired, and I think sometimes I feel guilty that I'm not here to answer questions. And so my goal is to have my son, who's very, very dedicated, and it's very hard for him to leave after 27 years, is the fact that he just can't continue to travel now that he has a family, and he's gone 8 weeks, 9 weeks to 10 weeks at a time without even seeing his home. And he doesn't need to do that, and I need him to be here. And I think he would be an asset to our office, and he's very concerned about everybody. It's very important. One of the things Eric and Ernie have in common, it's very important people like them. I can't imagine not liking Ernie, because he gives 110% of everything that he does. So with that in mind, he will be here very shortly, and I'm sure that there's going to be about 7 or 8 people that American Wheel is going to have to hire to replace him, but that again is their problem, not mine. So hang in there with him, and he's going to need every agent's support when he comes out, because his knowledge is 0 in real estate and 100% on everything else. So you could sell bubblegum wrappers to Eskimos. You found out that the schools needed them, and if you knew who made the bubblegum wrappers. So I'm looking forward to him coming in and working with us, and Eric's looking forward to him coming in and working with us. So I think it's definitely going to be an asset to our office to have somebody here at times when I'm not going to be here. I'll be here sometimes, but sometimes I don't want to be here. Like today, I'd just like to go to the show. But I'm thinking, do I have everything come done? So I'm at the time now where I want to pass the torch to somebody else for just a little while, so I can say, I'm going to the show, have fun, and go without feeling that I have to come back to see if everything's okay or if you guys need me. Usually everything's okay, It's just that you don't need me anymore. Yeah, you do. Anyway, we're gonna talk about touring. How important it is. When I look at the list of homes that come up, Prudential, PMZ, all these groupies, they're way at the bottom. It's individual, the mom and pop that are doing our listings. So I think the more we get out there, the more we're gonna, I don't wanna say expose ourselves, but I guess that's what I mean. Do I not? And you have to do what you have to do. It won't work for me, I'm too old, but you guys have at it. Anyway, on the, Fabiola got it, the rest of you didn't. Jose got it, but she
No.
didn't say anything.
I don't get
Anyhow,
this.
anyway, when we put these together and we don't have anything to tour, we shouldn't go, oh, well, we don't have anything to tour. The whole idea, and we started this many years ago, is caravanning, listings, and letting the next door neighbor say, my God, look at Bain Vintage Realty. All those cars showed up to look at that house. Look, never let anybody look at it. Or the owner to say, good Lord, the whole office came through, and our own office, our own agent in Timbuktu has even come by to do an open house. You're building your future. It's not so, well, you guys may have time to go out and have breakfast, and I sure as hell don't want that. I want you out there doing your work. You're out there advertising and campaigning, and that's what you should be doing. But if somebody sets up the tour and goes to the trouble of calling agents and getting a tour, Jesus, go. Please. If you guys would just take a moment. I followed the car yesterday. I thought you were all drunk.
Oh, the signs.
I go, just slap. Kind of put them on a little straight, you know. We don't mind. And I thought, oh my God, there isn't a straight one in the whole crowd. And you go, but you went, and real estate is good. It's out there. We get calls to show, and even if these are not our listings, you certainly have the right to say, you know what, I toured a home yesterday, and it's not the one you're calling on, but we need to go look at it. So that's why, even though it's not in our office, it's so important that you all, A-L-L, go. Just because you're tour director, and you say, well, no biggie, it's not our listing. The next door neighbors could be our listings. So you guys are out there doing your job, and please continue to do so. Okay, Bernie, you want to pass this around? I love the guy, the way you went ABC. The camera card's not behind him, huh?
Should be.
There's no camera cards on those.
Oh,
Am I right?
just on,
They're on the screen.
I know, but it needs to be on theirs. Okay. I got one here.
oh,
You want to flash it on? Flash. Okay.
right.
First one's Coronado.
I know that. You just went too fast. I couldn't get there fast enough. Let me get my glasses. Okay. This is a Jack Clem's listing by Jack Clem. It's been on the market for 4 days on Coronado. Who'd ever think of $255 for Coronado? 3 bedroom, 2 bath. Square footage 1209. Built in 1963. First thing we have to do as a buyer, think of the roof, right? So go down a little bit. Okay, a little bit further. It says the escrow's over at Old Republic. Email the offer to Jack. It's a sharp home. New slab, granite kitchen counter, new black appliances. You guys are gonna see that when you go there. Okay, the next one is going to be Loma Way and Tracy. That's 309. That's listed for Hannah. Okay.
Okay.
And it is 3% commission. It's been on the market for 5 days. 3 bedroom, 2 bath. And the square footage is 1601. Thank you, hon. And I love this one. This is a home path.
It's a very nice tree.
Please submit at home path. Thank you. 3 bedroom, 2 full bath. Large kitchen. Is this the one that has the big lot on it?
Yes.
The lot size, look at the lot size. 3.190 acreage.
And the home pad property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the value definitely is in the land there. Okay, this is my favorite one.
No.
This is located in Regis, been on the market for 6 days, out of the area listing for Joseph Boat, but not to worry about it. It was 4 bedroom, 3 bath, 2,100 square feet, and I don't know whether this is, I don't know for sure. Move it on that net for me, honey. Combo lockbox. I thought that was against the rules.
It is.
If
Push
you-
the button.
Yeah, if you push the button.
I would like to see 14 buttons pushed.
Oh.
Can't do that. You know
That's
why
true.
you can't do that? You go in and show it. The next guy goes to show it, and they rip everything off. And say, here's
Who's to
your
blame?
business card. And know when who's in, who's out. I'm gonna share with you something once again. You're showing a house, right? An agent drives up behind you. Well, just give me the key. Just give me your card. I've had agents be so, I don't care. I'll say, no, you know what? I'm gonna put the key back in. I like your number in there.
Yeah.
They leave it open. I got their business card. What the hell's that prove? That they locked it up? And if they wanna hand you the key, say, no, just put it back in, I'll open it up. That agent, listing agent, has the right to know who's been in that house. And they're not gonna be with you handing him the key, and him handing him the key, and then she handed him. And guess what? She left it open,
Wrong dad.
and they took the camera,
Busy talking.
and one of the kids kicked in the wall. Rebecca, you're the last one in. Put the key back, I don't care if it's inconvenient. If I wasn't there, you'd have to open it up. So be careful about leaving your key in that lockbox. Okay, any questions on any of these?
Are the first two vacant?
Yes.
Okay. So, please take I'm sorry, anybody have anything to talk about? Incredible open houses last week. Let's see if we can't get some more. The sun was shining and, people were out and it was all good, all good. So, thank you for reporting back to me how your open house went. Well, I'm always thinking about it, but I've probably driven by and seen that the signs are set right, and Debbie had an incredible open house on Kaufman, so, anyway, take 5-minute break. Dave, you have anything to add about,
Nothing.
the meetings on
Nope.
those contracts?
No, that's today. I'll give you an update.
Good.
Tomorrow, sorry.
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow, good. Okay, so take 5 minutes and please go